Be
I
honest.
mean, yeah. Well, I mean, you know what the whole truth of the matter
I
is?
think he just said no.
No, I didn't say that. What I said was that you guys are willing to appear.
That's true. We're the biggest suckers, you know.
Yeah, without a doubt.
We're
So,
losers, whatever way
yeah.
you want to look at it.
So despite the fact that no one watches this shit, do the thing where you say who you are and where you're at. East Coast.
I'm Vince. I'm in Baldwin, Maryland,
Baldwin.
which is
Yeah.
22 miles north of Baltimore City, just
I don't.
south of the Pennsylvania line.
Right on. So you're not that far from Hanover, Pennsylvania.
No, there's a lot going on in Hanover.
Uh,
Get some pretzels. I think they're big for pretzels.
They are big for pretzels there. Snyder's of Hanover, in fact.
I was going to go to Hanover recently, and I can't remember what was there. There was like they have like the only like there used to be this thing in Baltimore called Sunny Surplus, where you could go there, and you could buy like really cool army gear, you know, like tactical jackets, like stuff that had been retired.
Yeah, real army surplus. They used to have those stores. Yeah. It wasn't shit they made in fucking a sweatshop in Taiwan and sold in New York. Yeah.
So they closed almost all of them here in Maryland. But there was one in Hanover, and Enzo was like really into like that shit a couple weeks ago. I was like,
did you say a couple of weeks ago?
That's how fast kids come and go with.
I got you. Sorry.
So I was like, we're not driving to Hanover, but yeah, they've got a Sunny Surplus in Hanover.
Right on. I got a buddy there I met when I was trying to launch that video thing for real estate agents. I met this guy named Colin Cameron who runs this small town agents brokerage there. He's a good dude. Seems like a real nice guy. He's a disc golfer, so he's probably into the dubage.
Yeah, most definitely. If you're a disc golfer, that's
right.
Like...
Right, 100%. Neighbor Paul, introduce yourself. Say who you are and where you're at.
Paul Mace, can you hear me?
I can.
Awesome. Marymount, Ohio. Yeah, neighbor of Scott Haggerty's for 5 years in Oakley.
Nice.
Yeah, that's true.
5 of my favorite years of adulthood.
Aw.
Oh, that's
thanks,
really,
man.
That's really great.
Sweet. And we did have some good times there. We had some great parties, and you horked some great babes, and
I can say I'm the babes,
There was some babes.
There were, man. I lived vicariously through you for a couple of years.
We had one party where a lot of babes showed up, including maybe somebody I might be married to.
Yes.
And I invited them all because all the guys were coming. I'm like, you got to invite as many girls as you know.
Yeah, right. Because otherwise nobody sticks around.
Right, a bunch of dudes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I miss you guys.
I miss you guys too. I ended up with the COVID.
I heard. How you feeling?
I'm all right. I'm fine. I feel like I dodged a bullet. It's so tempting to make light of it, but it's just like I know so many people who've lost people. It's just like
yeah, you know my buddy Ted, right?
I don't know. Yes, I know.
He died?
He's fine, but his uncle, who like is his mom's brother, and he knows them well. They go to Thanksgiving in Georgia every year down there, and apparently, he didn't go, but the family got together. There's a lot of kids, cousins, and his uncle got it, and he died. Like, went through the whole family. So
we were just barely this side of masked Nazis. I mean, we were pretty serious about keeping ourselves separate from stuff.
Yeah.
And I think I'm not going to disparage anything, but Christina had a circumstance where she had to go to a funeral, and I really think that, I mean, it's literally like the only chink in what I felt was our armor. But Elliot got sick first, and it wasn't terribly, debilitating. She was sick. She had a low fever. She was snotty, whatever.
At least she didn't get it at rallies. Like she wasn't, like she had to have rallies like one night.
Yeah, right. It wasn't something absurd. But the thing was my dad, he's 77. He was supposed to come over here for Christmas. And Elliot started feeling like shit the Monday before, and so her and Christina got tested anyway because she was going with her, and they both came up positive on Christmas Eve, and so Fievel and I, we Five and I were doing the best we can to like kind of. I mean, obviously, you can't quarantine completely from people you live in the same house with.
Mm-hmm.
But
You know,
we did the best.
He was spraying Lysol out of his system.
Yeah, right. That's like all you can do. But the thing was, is we were talking about it, and my first thought was we weren't going to even bother getting tested. We're just going to assume we had it and run ourselves on the same quarantine course or whatever. And then somebody from the Board of Health told Christina that we were better off getting tested because that would give us a better timeline on when we could
Expect to feel better.
Yeah, right. Or expect to be able to go out with our mask on again. I don't know. But so we did, and we both came back positive, and we were fine. I was fine all the way up until just this past Sunday, and this past Sunday, it was the weirdest thing. It was just like I was tired, you know. I felt like I was narcoleptic. I could fall asleep like this, and you know, I was a little stupider than I normally am, which is a dangerous proposition. And so like 3 days went by, but I came out the other side. You know, I mean, I'm smoking cigarettes all day today and drinking beer, so clearly it wasn't.
That's something.
Yeah, I mean,
what is the guideline they gave you? You got it. When can you go back out in public?
10 to 14 days, 10 days minimum.
It's a whole month.
10 to 14 days. I mean, if you
No,
stream next to each other.
Yeah, well, plus if you have COVID for 2 weeks, then you got to quarantine for 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's the thing, is you're supposed to count it from the last day you show symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
And then how long? 10 days from there?
10 to 14 days from there.
Yeah, because Kakin got it and he said 48 hours. And I'm like, what?
No.
What kind of bullshit are you getting? Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing too, is it's just like, you know, the thought process has always been from the beginning, at least for some segment of the population, the thought process has always been, you know, let's just let everybody get it. It's not going to kill everybody. The percentage is real low. Who's dying from it? Blah, blah, blah. You know, and then if everybody gets it, then we get this herd immunity thing. But there's so many documented cases of people contracting it and having the same issues, you know, within as little as 90 days. So I mean, we're not
problems, heart problems, brain problems.
Thought problems.
My buddy who's a doctor, we were out back New Year's Eve, everybody with masks and the kids, and the one dad got it, and he's kind of doesn't always believe in all this shit, like science, I guess.
I was going to say, doesn't always, like flips a coin one day.
Well, I don't know what he thinks, but he goes, well, I'll keep my opinion to myself. And he's like, you know, if that's all it was, I lost taste and smell for a couple of hours, whatever. And then my buddy who's a doctor goes, yeah, I'd rather not chance it. And I go with the doctor.
Yeah. I mean, see, that's the thing is this, like today was the first day I went back to work. You know, I was off work all week. They were really cool about it. Didn't make me take PTO and shit like that. But But one of the sales managers just flat out said that when she heard I had it, she thought the worst. She's just like,
yeah, we all do.
Well, no, she was just like, she's like, I can't believe you fared so well. I mean, you're so unhealthy, you know. And it's true. I mean, I smoke, I drink, you know. I'm not the most cautious person in the world about most anything. But you know, I lucked out, I guess.
I mean, the reality is 9 times out of 10 you're going to be fine, but it doesn't. I really wish the flu would just come back. I'm like looking forward to flu season at this point. Like,
see, that's the people start talking about the 9 times out of 10 stuff. The whole truth of the matter is, I keep fucking saying it, damn it. The thing is
that all your life, but like ever since I know you, that's like the agony line. The whole truth of the matter.
Well, that was. I'm just right now, especially. I'm disappointed that Ryan's not here because he said that's what the show should be called.
I love that.
But you know, shit, I forgot what my point was anyway. So, how about the coup? Paul, Paul, you could take oneies on the camera. Nobody cares. Nobody's watching this. You don't have to. You don't have to turn. You don't have to turn the camera off to take a oneie. Did you just ask me what a oneie is?
I have no idea what you're talking. The coup was crazy.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
dude,
I was working and Katie's like, I'm like back-to-back meeting. We've been so busy this week. Everybody's back from the holiday.
Yeah, it's the first month of the year, man. Everybody's doing something different. Come on, Fidelity.
She's like, you got to come watch this shit. I'm like, what? Like, I kind of, you know, it's like a bunch of Trump crazies. But then the more you watch it, you're like, That was fucked up shit.
Dude,
Yeah.
some of the footage that came out from inside the Capitol the next day was astonishing.
Yeah,
And
it's severely disturbing.
It really is. And it's just it's unsurprising though. It's just like,
but yeah, then there's a party that's kind of like over it already, which I feel really guilty about. Like we're so used to this insanity, whether it's
that
churches being shot up or schools.
Right?
You're just like, all right.
I'm laughing about it, but that, that's me and my buddy Driscoll were kind of talking about that earlier today. It's just like we spent this entire presidency being desensitized.
Yeah.
It just got us to this point.
Nothing
where
shocking
it's just
anymore.
Like, yeah,
it's
just
kind of like a TV show. They're already like the cap. It was on like CNN.
It's so well produced.
The Capitol building was stormed. See what
Yeah.
happened?
Oh yeah.
I'm like a TV show now.
No, they all are. They're all built for dramas to get us to click and to watch and all that stuff. And information's great, but we've reached a point where it's not anymore.
It's not. Well, it depends on whether it's actual information or not.
You just don't know.
Well, I mean, do you just not know? I mean,
I don't know. Sometimes I question, like, you ever think to yourself, like, as far left as we all are, there's some days where I'm like, maybe I'm wrong about everything. Maybe QAnon is real. Maybe there are pedophiles.
Oh, come on.
Maybe there's perverts in a pizza basement.
Yeah.
Of a pizza parlor.
Okay.
Like,
okay. No, this is.
What if there really is?
No, I'm glad you're bringing it up like this. Because, these are terrifying and crazy shit. But when you really spend a few minutes giving it rational thought, you realize you've watched too many fucking movies. It's not. I firmly believe that governments of the world have always had the capability of making people disappear and inciting circumstances that are for their benefit. But when you start getting down to these incredibly broad total population control or pedophile rings that stretch across, I mean, it just doesn't hold up. It just doesn't. I mean,
time?
Well, obviously the very rich have time to do whatever they want, Paul. You're going to be there one day.
No, that's the truth. I mean, you know, like we all want to pretend it's a bunch of rednecks who come up with this stuff. It's not.
No, well, but see, that's the other thing too. So, what's your suggestion there? That some of these conspiracy theories are deliberately, consciously fabricated and created and introduced to create these circumstances?
Yeah, totally.
But isn't that just another? But isn't that just another conspiracy theory? So who's doing that? Is Jeff Bezos have something to do with creating?
I don't know. It could be my neighbor for all I know. I have no idea. But there's stuff out there. But my point is, it's like sometimes I'm like I try really hard to see it from the other side, and usually I can be like, well, I get why that guy's a racist piece of shit.
Well, you can at least I mean, it's not like you really get it, but it's not like you really get it, but you can at least attach some logic to it.
Yeah, empathy is like not the right word, but you can definitely kind of like, okay, I can see why somebody might feel this way, but we've reached a point now where I'm like, nope, I can't.
That's what I want to know. Like not the rednecks of the world, but the people that you know.
Redneck's the wrong term. A real redneck wouldn't like be out there licking Trump's boots. Yeah,
the Trumpers of the world that are like your in-laws, Vince, or my parents,
or mine.
Yeah. Like.
Excuse me.
Okay, after all this, like, I mean, we're not shocked, but after all this, like, can you really still stand by Trump?
Mm-mm.
I'm not really shocked. I mean, I'm a little shocked, but my point is that do people that not the
is it finally enough?
Is it finally enough for the parents and the people of the world that's just like so Republican that they realize, all right,
let's get your dad on the line right now.
This guy's a piece of shit.
Oh man, wait, can we get Ralph on the line, Paul?
He doesn't.
That would not be good.
He had
if he did, you wouldn't let us.
Cleared out the other day. And
really? Shit. Was it an outpatient thing?
It was the day after all this shit, and I was about to send him a text about like, what the fuck? But I'm like, oh, he's getting surgery.
Have you asked him though? Was it a bridge too far for them? Or are they still on board?
Well, I haven't asked him. Maybe he just got back out of the hospital today.
I don't give a shit.
I mean,
I did. I know your brain almost exploded.
Paul, seriously though, how were Ralph and Mary Alice about the election though? Did they express any belief in this stealing thing?
No, but I've never heard them say that, and I never asked, but they've never said it.
Right. I mean, and you know, if
Actually
Christina's
think if my
dad was still alive, I wouldn't ask him either because I'd be afraid of the answer.
Yeah,
honestly.
exactly.
Yeah.
But knowing my dad, if he thought it was stolen, he probably in his he would have been drinking his bourbon.
Yeah, telling you, these Democrats they finally picked it all. You know, something like that.
Yeah, or send me an email or so he never did that. So I think I don't think he thought the election was stolen. But
I don't think most of them do. I think in your heart of hearts, you're playing a game.
But see that brings me to another thing that Christine and I were talking about. Somebody yesterday, it might even have been late Wednesday, someone was floating the idea that that this incitement isn't something that's just something that happened Wednesday. It's been going on since the election. And any congressperson who stood behind an objection to a certification should be expelled, essentially, from Congress.
I'm kind of there.
I kind of am too.
They're a piece of shit. That Holly guy.
Oh, that Holly guy! My God, that's somebody nothing bad's ever happened to, and a lot bad should have happened to. But the thing that kills me is it's just like this thought process about expelling everybody. It shouldn't have taken a rampaging horde of idiots to make it this way. I mean, we should have been talking about expelling congressmen and women a week after the election who were still purporting to support this conspiracy about the fraud.
Everybody resigning right now, which
everybody, I wish.
Well, the few people that are resigning.
Yeah, the few people who are trying to save their souls.
Exactly. Like, I mean, all right, it's gone too far, but come on.
That goes back to what we were saying before about the desensitization. Yeah. It had gone too far 3 months into the fucking presidency. You know? And shit that's happened since then. It's just like, so how about this? Should they bother with an impeachment that can't possibly conclude before he leaves office anyway?
They can get it done. If they really want to, they can.
I don't think so. I don't think they can get it on the floor of the Senate. And the other thing is that they won't want it on the floor of the Senate until the 2 new Georgia senators are sworn in, which will be after he's out of office.
It would have been great to see the 25th. I would have loved to see it come from Pence in the cabinet, but it won't.
They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that.
But it would have been great.
It would have been great. And you know what? Here's the thing. It might still be great. We've got a week and a half or so, right? It might still be great. You know what I think?
Look, Vince is already texting. He's like, I'm done with this TV show, fellas. I'm
tweeting.
No, tweet. As long as you're tweeting screenshots of panel and telling people where to find it on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's funny is I haven't, like, the last few that I've done, I didn't post on Facebook or anything. I just put it straight on the YouTube channel because people ask me not to. But
one of ours with Bill.
The one with Bill went straight to YouTube.
Bill, you said no Facebook, yeah.
I didn't do it. It went straight to the YouTube channel.
What is your YouTube channel? Because you should advertise it here and hit subscribe. Not that anybody's ever gonna watch this, but
yeah, right. But my YouTube channel is www.youtube/ a bunch of numbers, and I don't know.
Yeah, that's really gonna get people there.
No, here's the thing. I'll post this on Facebook and I'll put the link on and I'll say, this is the episode in which Paul Mace tells me I should make people subscribe.
Time man.
Paul Mace monetizing. The whole truth of the matter is.
Yeah, it's gonna blow up, dog.
Come on, man, bring it on. See, now
paid.
I wish Ryan was here. He wanted to be the producer. Now you guys are gonna have to fight it out.
Wait, stop. Because Vince,
what?
The three of us have been talking about running this show for ages, and you didn't want to buy into me and Vince running it. And where are you at? Nobody watches your show.
All he cares about is Ryan,
anyway.
Apparently. If Ryan was here, everything would be better.
If Ryan was here, everything would be better.
Ryan's cooler than you guys. Ryan plays frisbee golf.
No, you're misconstruing this, Paul. Because the whole truth of the matter is, if you guys had really put something together and started running with it, I'd have been here. I'd have still done it. Nobody did.
I think every time that like Scott says the whole truth of the matter,
You gotta drink. You have to drink. No, you have to drink.
Yeah.
The whole truth of the matter is that's the whole point.
What are you drinking, Vince? Is it water or is it one of your whiskey drinks?
I should have had this say like "fuck Paul" on the bottom.
That would have been funny.
That'd have been. I'm gonna do that in meetings at work. Like,
yes, visual comedy. Yes.
So there's
right.
this underlying
just draw a dick. Just draw a dick
big
on the bottom.
Pick.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
There's an underlying joke. You might have heard it before where my dad, he's like, "Fuck you, Paul Mace."
Fuck you, Paul Mace.
Yeah, at the quarter before you work there. So,
yeah.
you know, Vince or Brad and Jerry and all those guys always talk about it. So I met up with him last weekend outside.
Ralph.
We were around a fire. We're talking about my family being from Italy. And somebody's like, "Well, what was the name?" And it was like, you know, I was DeGioia. And Eric Birdsall, Vince, you know, Eric, he looks at me, he goes, "You know what?" He's like, "You know what DeGioia is translated to English? You know what that's translated?" I'm like, "No." And I knew as soon as he said, he looks at me, and goes, "It means fuck you, Paul May."
Right?
Great.
It's all about the setup, man.
That's good material.
It is good material.
All right, Vince, give us some good stuff.
What were you asking me before? You were asking me a question before we went on that tangent.
Who was?
Paul. I thought you were asking me like some deep philosophical question, and then I went off talking about something else.
He was asking if you were going to work for the Trump campaign in 24.
No, not again. I was saying it would be a lot. I was saying how you were saying how much cooler this would all be if Ryan had showed up.
I'm posting this now for the specific purpose of giving him the impression that I keep saying that. No, it was just because of the whole truth of the matter is nonsense. That's it.
Oh, I was going to tell you.
Wait, no, you guys didn't answer me. Wait, hang on. Stop. Time out. Should they impeach him or not?
Absolutely.
Paul?
I'm all for it.
Actions have consequences. We need to reach that point again in this country.
Now, is there a
needs to go?
Well, here's the thing. My theory is
13
that,
days or not, throw his ass out.
Well,
I'm a little you know what they did in Italy after World War II ended with Mussolini?
You're right. Yeah. So,
take that shit to 4chan, Paul.
But here's the thing. Let's go ahead and say for the sake of discussion that they rifle it through and they get an impeachment in and they get a conviction. I don't know, Wednesday or Thursday. You know, 4 days before Trump's out. So what does it do? It removes him from office.
Yeah, but he loses security. He loses security detail.
He's losing that anyway.
No, well, when he leaves, like he'll have Secret Service for life.
Hang on. He won't. Hang on.
Why?
Because I believe. No, let me put it this way. I want to believe. I don't really believe, but I want to believe that the main reason to not bother impeaching him is so the second he leaves the grounds of the White House, they can actually indict and charge him as a private citizen with treason and inciting a riot and a host of other things.
But what difference does it make if he's impeached or not?
Because the impeachment won't imprison him.
No, but he get a double whammy, yo.
Too?
Yeah,
pardon me. Teach him and do that.
But,
I mean, I'm all for it just because we have to make a stance of what he did is not all right.
I agree with that 100%.
It's insurrection.
I agree with all of this 100%. But the problem is like we were saying before, if they do it and they do it under that banner, it has to be carried to all the congressmen that backed any of it too. They have to take step. They have to expel. There's going to be runoff elections, et cetera, et cetera. They're not going to do all that, and they're not. And they can't do one without the other. Paul's taking another hit off the wani.
No, but he loses his 200,000.
That or I gotta pee.
So here's what else he loses. He loses his salary. He loses his security detail. He gets a $1 million a year travel expenditure account. He loses that.
Yeah, but doesn't the security detail expense come out of that as well?
No.
Yes.
So our taxpayer dollars are going to be paying for him and his shitbox kids to have security detail because it makes him feel big. So of course they're going to take advantage of it. It makes him still feel important.
I think a lot of these people are going to be in jail.
I pray to God you're right, but it doesn't matter if they have security detail or not. We can still send them to prison.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think
unfortunately, the thing about all this though, man, and we talked about this a little bit right after the election. The fact that 75 million fucking people voted for him, and enough of them were ballsy enough to storm the Capitol. It's going to be a rough 4 years. And Biden better, and if he's not the most protected president and most carefully handled president in history, he's going to be assassinated.
Yeah.
And it's just, the one argument I would have for impeachment is that a second impeachment, especially if it results in a conviction after he's left office, I mean, it's not, I don't think constitutionally it says he can't run again, but I think it's enough of a blemish that he won't.
No, he's ruined, like, this last stunt spoiled it for his kids. Like, their brand is so toxic right now.
Did you guys see the Perrier tent party at the
where his daughter-in-law was,
I mean, that made me want to throw up.
And Don Jr.'s like, hey, it's T-1 second to we're gonna fight and blah blah blah. And it's just like, the disconnect between reality and these people is appalling. But the disconnect,
actually, it's not good that what happened, but that is the silver lining, you should say. Like,
that it's galvanizing people against him.
Yes. That finally people have to, like, even Republicans, Attorney Barr, other people are finally saying, all right, Mitch McConnell, Graham, they're standing against him.
Graham and McConnell made the biggest pleas for their souls I've ever heard.
But did you?
That's what it was.
Right.
It's
Graham today went the other way.
Total bullshit. What do you mean, Graham today was saying it was Antifa insiders and
today he was back to kissing his ass. It's exhausting. Like,
Graham was?
Yeah, he was back to kissing Trump's ass.
Well, let me ask you guys this:
like attacked on the airplane, you traitor.
Oh Jesus! I mean, I'm sure we all agree that this is, it's not an isolated incident; it's a culmination of a series of circumstances. But again, 75 fucking million people voted for this guy. A pretty solid segment of the population believes this absolutely without merit circumstance about the stolen election. A solid percentage of elected officials are standing on the same shit. I mean, what do we do about this? I mean, it's just like, I mean, I look at the whole thing. I was telling Brian earlier, I look at the whole thing and say, this is a result of 50 to 70 years of the gutting of the educational system in this country. Everybody's so fucking stupid that they can't even get out of their own way.
But then the internet radicalized everybody, either left or right. Everyone tunes into that channel, man.
I'm totally on board with the internet having a disproportionate influence.
Huge.
But it's like your CNN or your Fox.
Yeah.
Like,
but now
I'm an NPR, but I like to read them all. I go to Fox, I go to CNN. NPR
I was watching Fox. I watched Fox most of,
Breitbart.
I watched Fox a good portion of Wednesday afternoon. Their coverage was it was almost identical to the CNN coverage. There was nothing else they could do with it because Tucker Carlson wasn't narrating the deal.
But guys, here's the problem though. So, like what Paul said was right. You had CNN versus Fox, so you're either one camp. But now you've got this third camp that's even more fucking below the surface. You've got
that might be the first, but it's not the last. And there's a bunch of those splinter camps.
But they're getting mainstream popularity, like the One America Network, like, I don't know the other ones, but they're getting like national attention. They're getting more viewers than Fox. So it's like, holy shit. Now there's going to be something below that, right?
Like
eventually. Now there's already below that. It's just a question of its popularity level reaching the point where you can notice it. But this goes back to what I was saying. I won't argue the influence that these news channels and the social media have on these people, but I will argue that with a better educational system, they might not be so fucking susceptible.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's just,
but a lot of people, like, their world, like a lot of folks I know, they grew up where I live here in Baldwin, right? It's all white. It's very pretty. It's fancy.
Yeah, there's no
scarcity. There's no crime.
There's no scarcity mindset.
Everybody has everything they need and more.
Right.
And it's painful. Like, they just don't get it.
but that's the thing is it a well-educated,
They're all
well-to-do?
well educated, yeah.
But is it right wing?
Yeah, because there's no culture here, so people can't identify with
Well
Black Lives
educated is
Matter
a
or
broad term. Well educated in what? Like you're educated, like
Yeah,
you have
yeah,
a degree
fair,
versus
plenty of
fair,
smart
fair,
people.
fair,
Yeah.
100%. But it's not. But there's no arguing the fact that when you go at education level, the higher education levels tend to lean left. They do. It's statistically proven that the higher education levels tend to lean left.
Mm-hmm.
You really
And
should have said at the end of the day.
at the end of the day,
At the end of the day,
Wait, now you're saying?
is that
No,
not what
the
I'm saying?
truth of the matter, the
Oh,
fact.
the whole
that-
truth of the matter.
The whole truth of the matter. I got the saying wrong.
At the end of the day,
How can I
you'll
be on this
find
show and I don't know what it's called?
but I just think if you're
Vince,
not
East
exposed,
Coast, man, I
Yeah.
really wish Ryan was here.
yeah, I know it'd be so much cooler. But if you're exposed
Who
to
would you
certain
kick
things,
off, me or Vince?
No, we'd all be on. That's what I was
All
hoping
right.
for. I was hoping we'd all be on.
well,
Sorry,
he
go ahead,
has it
Vince.
looks like 8 minutes. But
Yeah.
my point is, like, if you've never been exposed to sort of like people in need, or you yourself hasn't struggled, like your whole life has been a pretty straight, perfect line.
Right.
Like you're
What do you know?
what do you know? So like
Right.
you see Colin Kaepernick or you see Black Lives Matter, and you're like, what the fuck is that? Because you can't empathize. If you can't empathize, then I can't convince you to empathize.
But
Like,
see, that goes back to the thing about your education level. I mean, yeah, you might not have direct experience with this. You might not be able to, authentically empathize with the circumstance, but you can logically understand the importance of a diverse and enmeshed community.
yeah, but look
You'd
at
be able to
universities.
understand that somebody who comes from a background that it's completely been slammed on their whole lives versus our privilege. Like at some
Right.
point, you have to
Yeah,
recognize it.
You do. I mean,
know?
as far as I'm concerned, if you reach the point where you're 16 or 17 years old and you're a white male in America, you should already have a clear understanding of the breaks that you have already. I just feel like you
That's
should
a
know.
pretty young age. I don't know that at 16 or 17 I knew that. I mean, I'm gonna admit, like it took me longer to realize that. So I'm not. Maybe it's different today, but like that's good stuff. But,
Well, I
yeah.
mean, no, I'm just saying. Well, you should maybe not understand it in a way that's like, contributing to the
Yeah.
betterment of yourself or society, but at least recognize it. At least
true.
recognize.
Maybe it's younger.
Maybe it should be younger. I
I told Luke, he was like, "What's white privilege?" And I'm like, "White privilege is I can walk down my neighborhood, Luke, and
Yeah.
nobody knows me, and
nobody
nobody's gonna
cares.
think nobody cares."
Yeah, nobody calls the cops on you.
But if I was black,
Yeah, be a different story, right?
it would be a different story, Luke. That's what it is.
And what's funny, and I've had similar conversations with Fievel and Elliot, but the thing is I've been, pleasantly surprised, and maybe it was our insistence on the public school thing or whatever it might be, but my kids took a really long time to even have any like idea of racial inequality or this, that, or the other thing too. It took a really long time.
Mhm.
And maybe that's in itself a privilege circumstance where, I've chosen to have this exposure level and blah, 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 or whatever, when there's people out there that can't. But anyway, that's the thing is, I think that's what this all comes back to. It all comes back to how the American people have been raised for the last 50 to 70 years.
Mhm.
It's an attitude of scarcity, and it's an attitude of I can't have mine unless you don't have yours. And it's just, and I really think that there has to be some kind of like long-term focused plan on getting us back on some kind of path. It's just, this place is going to go down. It's going to go down in fucking flames, regardless of the fact that we got Trump out of the White House. If we don't address some of these long-term issues.
But I think now we're really forcing each other to like 10 years ago, Paul and I wouldn't be sitting around talking about white privilege or things that we have.
That's
We'd
right.
be talking about like
Paul and I had conversations about this shit a couple
we'd
times.
be talking about
on here.
crashing parties, like
Well, so
ripping
maybe not
shit
5
up.
years ago, but 15, Vince, right? Yeah, I'm with you.
But I think we're evolving in the right direction. I just think we're kind of just like getting it all out there. Like the coup was like kind of the crescendo, right? It was like we finally reached this.
I hope it was the crescendo.
And it was just like, it was like throwing up it sucks, but you feel better after you do it. And part of me has that way.
Seeing a bunch of rednecks
Yeah.
going through with Trump, Pence,
Yeah.
Confederate flags, and
Yeah.
Fred Flintstone, Grand Poobah shit on their heads.
But it proved the insanity of the entire movement. And I think a
But
lot
it
of
also
moderates.
it proved something else though too. It proved that the most vocal representatives of a pretty solid third of this country are fucking lunatics.
Mhm.
And it just
Knowing's half the battle.
A lot of hillbillies.
They're not disappearing. They're not going away. That's
No,
the thing.
but I think when you think of like everybody would want to have better health care. Everybody, we just have to sort of like we have to sell it to them. I think there's a big part of them where they do feel left out, or they maybe have like, because you turn on TV and it's like fast city people. It's like Roseanne Barr was like the last person to represent that class.
Well, this goes back to the same thing. It goes back to the lack of education, where
that's going to be tough.
It is going to be tough. It's not something you're going to fix overnight, but it's something
you have
that has to
generations of idiots.
You have that's Brian said the same thing today. He was like, you're not going to be able to tell people blah 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 blah. And I said, I'm not talking about telling people now.
Yeah,
you can't tell anybody
Maryland.
now. There has to be some kind of long-term plan put in place. And Paul, there has to be some kind of way that we can work that out and monetize it.
What do you think the chances of Trump just resigning? Say I'm done.
That's a
50-50. It's 50-50 right now. It would be the smart thing for him to do. There was a couple hours Wednesday afternoon where people couldn't get a hold of him. And I turned to Christina and I said, God help me, I hope he shot himself.
Yeah. But I mean,
but the problem is if he had shot himself, that's the thing is I hope he resigns, or I hope he kind of like fades away ignominiously. Yeah. But the thing is, if he like dies, someone kills him or he kills himself, his death would be a galvanizer for the Trump movement way more than because what's going to happen is he's going to go to the private world, bounce back and forth between Manhattan and Mar-a-Lago, and he's going to try
selfish to kill himself.
Yeah, and he's going to try and keep himself relevant. He's going to keep doing stupider and stupider shit. Mm-hmm. There was a great pundit Wednesday afternoon. It was right after Biden came on and did his little
2-minute warning.
Thank you. Biden comes on and gives his little speech. See, Vince is already producing. But I turned to Christina and I said, this will be interesting. And right as I was saying that, someone on CNN or MSNBC said, well, no matter what Trump says, it'll be the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah. I think one thing that you can expect from him is doing the wrong thing every single time.
You can at least count on it. I mean, sometimes he shocks me with how wrong.
But we're so blessed that he was an idiot. What if he wasn't an idiot? He would have been elected for 4 more years.
He would have been.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. If he wasn't
an idiot, the problem that he was an idiot. Like there's a difference between disagreeing with certain policies and being a morally lacking individual who has
morally bankrupt.
Yeah.
Morally bankrupt.
He's a sociopath. He doesn't know right from wrong. He has no idea.
No, see, it's not that he doesn't know right from wrong. He's not really a sociopath. He doesn't care.
1 minute warning.
There was 1 minute warning. Hey, I really appreciate you guys coming on. As always, I love you too. You guys have a fabulous night. We will get together again soon. You guys are going to be the final show for season 2, and we'll do it like right before I start the 1-year anniversary on season 3.
Facebook or just straight to
whatever.
Video.
We'll figure out the fuck. I'm going to post this one. I think this is a good one. I'm posting it one tonight.
All right.
Have a good night.
Heat Fest 2021.
Let's do it. We're all in. I'm doing it no matter what.
GBV, motherfuckers.
No matter what.
I'll be there. I'll be there if it kills me.